Hey, hey, hey! 1 second. Hello, what do you think of? Alright, close your eyes. What do you think of when I say the word free? I think of like your famous quote, which is literally just one word, but that really famous line from Braveheart where he's all like, freedom! And I'm sure that's like pretty typical for most people to think about. But either way, that's what comes to my head first. But what really is freedom? F-R-E-E, what does it mean to be free? Freedom kind of comes into play with satisfaction, right? And contentment. So I gave a talk a couple of days ago about how God is the true satisfier of our souls. And when I was really like trying to pray about what I should talk about and how I should give the talk, I don't know, something kind of came to me a little different than the typical kind of stuff you hear about how God is the one that satisfies us. And I think what it comes down to is that we feel satisfied in life, we feel content and safe when we're holding on to control, when we're the ones in control of what's going on in front of us. Kind of in my last video, I talked about the analogy of like a mirror, right? And how we are broken into bajillion pieces and we try to hold on to those pieces of ourselves. We need to just truly let go and let God, right? And I guess this kind of plays into that as well. When we can give God the control, it kind of frees us up. But that's the opposite of what the world tells us. The world says, you know, you have to be in control of what you're doing, that you have to know what you're doing in your life. You have to know what kind of job you want, what kind of career you want. You have to know what kind of lifestyle you want to live. You have to be in control of everything because that's where true satisfaction lies. But it's not. We are literally trapping ourselves. You're literally caging yourself when you take control, because not only does that put so much pressure and stress on you, but also like you are not free to just enjoy life as it comes. And when we completely can say, all right, God, I don't want to be in control, he can take it wherever he wants. And it's scary, but it's also really beautiful. And there's so much true freedom in that. Something that I think is super important also to know is that we kind of can come to a point where it's like, all right, I'm a good person, but not only that, like I'm striving to be a holy person. I pray, I trust God, I do all these amazing things for him. So now what? How do I can continue to give over control? I think we get stuck on this a lot. We strive so much for holiness, for sainthood, to the point where we think that we have to be the ones to make ourselves into saints. That I have to be in control of my life and in control of my emotions, I gotta be in control of my actions, my thoughts, all these things. But we kind of overdo it to where we think that we're the ones that have to make ourselves holy, but we can't. We are never gonna make ourselves into saints by ourselves. You can want that, and you can desire it, and you can strive for it, but in all truth, the only way to become a saint is by letting God make you into one. And even in that way, we can give over control. We can say, all right, I've been living a great life and loving God and I'm striving to be holy. But even in that, we can take control. We can hold on tightly when we just need to say, all right, God, here, you have it. You make me into a saint. I can't do it anyway. Not to say that we have to give up entirely, not do a single thing, because you have to still be able to move, right? But in this way, there's so much freedom. Something else that came up this week for me was the story of the lady in the Bible who had like the hemorrhages, and she went to touch just Jesus's clothing. Like she didn't even touch him per se. It was just a piece of his clothing. She was like, if I just touch him, then I'll be healed. Something that stood out to me and that I heard a little bit differently was the fact that she touched Jesus versus Jesus touching her. Even when you look at the life of Jesus and the way, like when he healed people, he didn't like go to every single person that was sick. He didn't say, all right, let's go to this house and heal this person. Let's go to this house and heal this person. He just lived, and as they needed it, he did it. In this case, he didn't seek after that woman. She sought after him. And she was the one that touched him. And we hear about it a lot, how we need Jesus to touch our lives, our hearts. And I think so many people are seeking that. They want that. They want God to touch their hearts, which is valid. That's an amazing thing. But it doesn't mean that God loves you less just because he's waiting for you to touch him, waiting for you to pursue him. Another thing that somebody had mentioned about the story was that after she touched his clothing, Jesus said, "Who touched me?" Right? And it was like, sassy Jesus over here, "Who touched me?" Like, no, but he wanted to know who it was, so that not because he wanted to be like, "Hey, why didn't you just ask me for healing? I would have done it." No, he just wanted to be able to know who it was so that he could encourage her, so he could say, "Thank you." So he could say, "Look, you have incredible faith. You came to me before I could turn around to come to you." That's something God does to us all the time. When we can say, "God, I want to be able to live freely. I want to give you control over my life." You're saying, "All right, God, I want to live how you want me to live. I know that this takes faith." But the thing is, God will turn around every single time that you seek him. Every single time you give him control and you seek satisfaction in him, every time you seek to pursue him, to touch him before he can seek you, that's incredible. Not that he's not seeking you all the time anyway, but when he sees that you are striving to love him, striving for holiness, even though you know you're imperfect, he's always going to turn around and say, "Who was that?" Because he loves you. He wants to know you. He wants to know who it is that loves him enough to surrender control of your life and to seek satisfaction where he knows only he can give it. The last thing I want to say is this very simple but incredible truth. You don't need to convince yourself that you have to settle to be satisfied. Don't settle. Strive for holiness, strive for sainthood, seek to go and have faith enough to reach out to Jesus. Because every single time you do, every time that you give him control of your life and your decisions, there's freedom and there's healing. And every time he's going to turn his face to you and say, "Wow, what great faith you have." Jesus, I surrender. Show me